Hello, everyone. Today we'll be doing assumption, right? So we'll understand what assumptions are and how can we attempt questions based on assumptions. Okay. So let's begin with our class today. I hope I'm audible there. Okay. Yeah. So what is assumption basically? Now understand it in this way. Today we have a class at 5 p.m., right? So this is a statement that we have a class at 5 p.m. Now, what is the assumption behind this statement, or what is the assumption behind keeping this particular class at 5 p.m. on weekdays? Okay. And just, skipping the Saturday, Sunday, what is the assumption behind it? So many of you will say that assumption is that student will come to the live class, they will attend the live class, and they'll be there, they'll answer the question, etc., etc. And most importantly, they will be available for this live class. So this is the assumption. Now let's say if this particular assumption falls apart, means if I'm not thinking about this particular fact that people are going to be available, or this particular time is convenient for everyone to be there in the class, to be present in the class, then the statement or the situation of keeping the class at 5 p.m. will fail. The entire statement fails, right? So this is what assumption is. Assumption is basically, you can say assumption is the foundation of a particular statement. If assumption is false, statement does not make any sense, right? So that's how you can understand it in a layman's language. So now, assumption, it is a fundamental concept that helps us to evaluate the validity and soundness of an argument. How sound is the argument, what validity it holds. If assumption is not correct, if assumption is false, or if assumption is not concrete in itself, then the argument or the statement does not hold any validity. Okay. It's often hidden bedrock upon which an argument stands. So as I just gave you a very real life example, so argument, the statement or the argument stands on that particular assumption. Okay. Learning to identify assumption, obviously it is crucial for dissecting argument effectively. Whether you are analyzing a debate, a news article, or a persuasive essay. So anything that you are analyzing, if you want to assert something, if you want to dissect an argument, you have to understand the assumption behind it. And assumption is from the point of view of the speaker or from the point of view of the author. Okay. Take it as if statement is a building, assumption is the foundation. So if the foundation is faulty, then you know what is going to happen to the building. Same happens with the statement. If the assumption behind that statement is faulty, if the assumption behind that statement is false, then the assumption has no value, it has no validity. Understood? Now, what is assumption and how can you identify something as an assumption? Assumption, it is an unstated evidence. Assumption is always unstated. It is not stated in any given scenario, whether it is a passage, whether it is a paragraph. Okay, it is not stated. It is a piece of information or belief that speaker or author takes for granted. So they are not mentioning it. They take it for granted. It is there. Okay, but it does not explicitly state. As I said, assumption is unstated. It is taken for granted. It is more like understood. Okay. Assumption must be true. For the argument's conclusion to logically follow from its premises, assumption must be true. If the assumption is false, the arguments fall apart. So we have discussed this thing that assumption has to be true for the argument to be logically valid and for the soundness of argument. Okay. Assumption is taken for granted. It is something that speaker implicitly believes to be true. As I said, we have a class at 5 p.m. So I already assume, okay, I assume that you guys are available. You guys can attend the class live. That is why we are keeping it. And if this assumption falls apart, then keeping class at 5 does not make any sense. Okay. Speaker's point of view, this is very important. So assumptions are always made from the perspective of person presenting the argument. You are not going to think from your own perspective. You have to think from the perspective of the author or the speaker. Why this particular thing has been mentioned in this particular question or a particular situation is given to you. Why author is saying what he's saying? So look for the context. Okay. So what assumption does? They reflect the speaker's underlying belief or premises. Okay. Absolutely necessary. Assumption is not just something that could be true. It is the condition that is absolutely necessary for the conclusion of the argument to be valid. If the assumption is not true, if the assumption is, just vague, then the argument will fall apart. So you understand why assumption is necessary for an argument to hold validity. Okay. Next, we see. Now, how can you spot assumptions? And we'll discuss this with some examples. First of all, assumptions are for existence or non-existence of something. Okay. How? Whenever an argument uses specific terms, it implicitly assumes that those terms refer to something that exists or does not exist. It depends on the context of the statement. Something, either it exists or do not exist. How can we, like, what are the examples? Now the statement is corruption in banks can be checked by stricter accountability and harsher punishment of the guilty. Correct. What are they talking about? This statement is talking about corruption in banks. Corruption in banks, how it can be checked? It can be checked by stricter accountability and harsher punishment to the guilty. So something exists, something is corruption in bank. Okay, refers to something that exists or does not exist. So existence or non-existence of a term. So here we are talking about existence of corruption. Now what is the assumption behind it? Assumption is corruption exists in bank. If corruption was not there in banks, if it did not exist, there would be no problem to check, or there would be nothing to check upon. They need to check upon corruption. They need to check on this problem because it exists, and it exists severely. Understood? I hope I am clear with this particular point, existence or non-existence of the term. Correct? Next, if we look at, next is problem solution. Now, this is a very simple thing. If there is solution, there is a problem. If there is a problem, there will be solution of that particular problem. Okay, so assumption goes by that. When an argument suggests a solution to the problem, it inherently makes two critical assumptions. Number one, what are two critical assumptions? Number one is problem exists. So there is a solution to a problem. That means that problem exists. Speaker assumes that the problem they are addressing, it is real, not hypothetical. Very important line. The problem that the author is discussing, that problem is real, and that is not just a mere fragment of imagination. It is a very real problem. It exists in reality. And now, because they are giving a solution, so what they are assuming, that the solution that they are giving, it is going to work. It is going to eliminate the problem, or it is going to solve, right? Otherwise, why would anybody give a solution to a problem, right? So next one is, first one is problem exists. Second one is solution will work. Speaker assumes that the proposed solution will be effective in solving the problem. Now, take it in real life example. If you are in a group discussion, and that group in that group discussion, you are given a problem. You are given a problem. Okay. So now when you are given a problem and you have to give solution to a problem, are you not going to think whether the solution that you are going to propose is going to work or not? You are not just going to say it for the sake of saying it. You will actually believe that the solution is going to work, right? So this is what assumption is about, problem solution. If there is a problem or there is a solution to a problem, that means the problem is very real. It exists. Second, the solution that is given is going to work, right? Let's take an example. So statement here is, to win the World Cup, the hockey team needs a foreign coach. Now here there are two things. They want to win the World Cup. Second thing is, hockey team needs a foreign coach. Okay. Assumption one, hockey team currently does not have a foreign coach. So because we have read this, hockey team needs a foreign coach. So if hockey team already had a foreign coach, they would not need it again. right? They do not have a foreign coach. That is why they need it, right? Now, if they already had one, suggestion wouldn't make sense as a solution, as we discussed. Second assumption is a foreign coach will improve team's performance enough to win the World Cup. What is the statement? Statement is to win the World Cup, the hockey team needs a foreign coach. So first, foreign coach is not there. Second, if they want to win the World Cup, the foreign coach might actually help, right? If this particular thought would not have been there, then why would anybody suggest this, right? So proposed solution has to be effective. This is also a condition that number one, if there is solution, problem is very real. Second, proposed solution will be effective. It is going to be effective to solve the problem. Am I clear till here? Do let me know if there is any difficulty or anything that you are not able to understand, okay? Now, most important, what is not an assumption? We have seen what is an assumption, how you can figure out assumptions. What is not an assumption? Common mistake is to confuse the assumption with opposite of a statement. A statement is given, opposite of that statement cannot be the assumption, okay? An assumption cannot be merely the negation or opposite of the statement itself. Assumption is something that supports the statement. It is not something that contradicts the statement. You have to keep this line very clear in your heads that your assumption should support your statement. It should not contradict your statement. We have a very easy example here. Friendship is based on trust. This is a simple statement. Friendship is based on trust. Now, what is incorrect assumption when we are discussing here? What not to assume? You are not going to assume enmity is based on distrust. This is not the assumption. Here we are talking about friendship. Okay, we are not talking about enmity. So this is the opposite concept. Enmity is an opposite concept, not an underlying truth necessary for the original statement about friendship to hold. So what is the original statement? It is about friendship. They are talking about friendship that is based on trust. They are not talking about enmity, right? Now, this is your question one, where statement is given and two assumptions are there. Now you have to figure out which of these two follow, whether or both of them follow, one follows. Let's see. Correct. Very good. Now see, statement is Manu invited all his friends to his home for dinner on his birthday and requested his mother to arrange for the birthday party. Now here two things are happening. Number one, Manu is inviting all his friends to his birthday party and he is requesting his mother to prepare for the birthday party or to arrange for the party, right? Now, assumption one says most of Manu's friends may attend his birthday party. Second assumption says Manu's mother may be able to make all the arrangements, including food. So now, if we have to look for the assumption, number one, Manu inviting all his friends. Second, requesting his mother to prepare for the birthday party. So obviously, he's assuming both of these things, that most of his friends are going to come. Most of his friends may attend his birthday party. Second, his mother may be actually able to prepare for all these things, may be actually able to arrange everything. That is why he has requested his mother for the same, right? So in this situation, both are implicit, right? Easy one. Next. Okay, let's see. Now, statement is government has decided to import pulses from various countries, which will start arriving at various ports in the country in October. So government is importing pulses. Okay. They are not buying pulses from domestic market. They are importing them. Assumption. One says imported pulses are rich in protein compared with domestic products. Assumption two, retail price of pulses is quite high in the local market. What is happening here? Government has to import pulses. Okay. First assumption is talking about protein content and all. So this is very vague. Okay. Second, if we talk about, second says retail price of pulses is quite high in the local market. Now, this assumption has a very high probability, right? See, if pulses were not, the retail price of the pulses was not high in the local market, government would not need to import it, right? So this one assumption is implicit that in the local market, some prices are high. So if government is, let's say, if you want to buy a car, forget about buying a car, you can take an example of an iPhone. Okay. If your relatives are going to US or any other country where the prices are less, you are getting a phone that is, let's say you want to buy a phone which is of around 1.5 lakhs in Indian market. But when a relative of yours is going to US or any other country where they are getting good amount, good discounted technology, or their tech prices are very low, so what will you do? You tell them to bring that for you, right? Why? Because in the local market where you are, there the price is quite high, right? So because you are getting something cheaper from outside, even including the fare and everything, like including like all the export and things like that prices, even when you are getting it cheaper than your local market, then only you're going to ask your friends or anybody to get it for you. Similar cases here. Government is importing pulses from various countries because retail prices of the pulses in local market is quite high. So it is convenient for them to import it from outside, and still they are able to balance the price of the commodity. Understood? So here, assumption 2 is implicit. I hope I'm clear here. If there is any difficulty, if you have not understood, please let me know. Okay, chalo, I'll proceed further. Now, okay, now in this one, statement is, please note that the company will provide accommodation to only outside candidates if selected in the first round of interview. So what is happening here? This statement is, maybe, let's say it is a notice from the company that we are going to provide accommodation to only outside candidates if they are selected for first round of interview. Now, what is the assumption here? One says local candidates would have some other arrangements for their stay. Second, company plans to select only local candidates. Okay. Now, if you are appearing for an interview, okay, and that interview is there in your hometown, so what will you do? Are you going to look for accommodation, or are you just going to go from your own place if you're a local person from that city? Let's say you are in Noida, for that matter, and interview is in your city only. So what is going to happen? You are definitely going to go from your place and then just attend the interview, or you will at least have a place to stay, right? While any candidate that is coming from outside, they do not have any place to stay. So what is happening here? Assumption one, local candidates would have some other arrangements for their stay. Why? Because they are local candidates. Second, company plans to select only local candidates. No, this is vague. Plus, this is extreme because, and moreover, this is not supporting the statement. Our assumption should support the statement. This line you have to keep in mind. Our assumption should support the statement. So, company plans to select only local candidates. Then why is company spending so much on accommodation for outside candidates? Right? So it's not like they only want to select local candidates. If this was the case, they would not be providing accommodation to candidates who are coming from other cities. Right? So this one is not supporting our statement. Which one is supporting our statement? That local candidates, they are going to have some other arrangements for their stay. They are not even mentioning that local candidates are going to come from their house only or from their home only. They're saying they would have some other arrangements. Why? Because they're local candidates. They'll have friends all around the city. They might have some relatives all around the city. Definitely, they'll know that city very well, so they can arrange, accommodation for themselves. So that is why. So this assumption is supporting our statement. Why company is not providing accommodation to local candidates? Understood? So here only one is implicit. Correct answer is option A. Is this clear? Next one. Okay, so the statement is, you know that your suit is excellent or any dress you are wearing is excellent when people ask about your tailor who tailored the suit. This is a statement that if you're wearing something nice or if you're looking good, let's say you just got a fresh haircut, you are looking really good. So people are going to ask you, where did you get this haircut from? Where is your salon? Who is your hairstylist? Right? Why? Assumption. People do not ask about your tailor if your suit is not good. Second, people want to know the criteria of an excellent suit. Think from the point of view of the author. Okay, and your assumption should support the statement. You know that your suit is excellent when people ask about your tailor. So he has mentioned that you know your suit is excellent. How? How do you know it? When people ask about your tailor who tailored the suit. So what is this person assuming? Why is this person assuming that his suit is excellent? Number one, he is assuming that people do not ask about the tailor if your suit is not good or if you're not looking good, or just an example that I gave of haircut. Anybody who's ruining a haircut is not going, then people are not going to ask for that particular person. But a person who's doing a great job, right? There people are going to ask for it. So this one, that people do not ask about your tailor if the suit is not good. So this supports the statement that you know your suit is excellent when people ask about the tailor, because people are not going to ask about your tailor if the suit is not good. Second, people want to know the criteria of an excellent suit. This is also a thing. Suit is excellent when people are asking for the tailor, so that they can go to that tailor and they can get a suit stitched from them for themselves, and then they could observe what all measurements, what all stitches, what all things that particular tailor is taking care of, so that they get to know, what is the criteria of an excellent suit, how an excellent suit is made. Understood? This one also is implicit. So here, both 1 and 2 are implicit. Now, let's say if you are at a place where there are regional artists, for that matter. Yes. So if you are at a place where there are regional artists and you know of a salon, but this is not the opposite of the argument. Opposite is when that particular assumption is contradicting the statement, like enmity. So we were talking about friendship there in that particular sentence, right? That assumption, enmity is based on distrust, like it, what you call it, it changed the main theme of that particular statement. Here we are talking about excellent suit, right? This assumption is also talking about tailor and suit. This is not changing the topic. So here your assumption should not contradict the statement. Did you understand? Right? So you have to keep in mind that assumption should support your statement. It should not contradict it. Right? This is why. Thanks for asking this question. I was waiting for you to ask this question actually. So this is why. That is why this is not the opposite of it. This is not contradicting it. Instead, this is supporting why author thinks like this. Why author is thinking, no, my suit is excellent. Because he's assuming if my suit was not excellent, people would not be asking me that, because nobody wants to ask if your suit is not good. Right? Or either they just want to make fun of someone, then it is something different. Okay? Understood? Next one. Very good. Yes. Now statement says, why don't you go to court if the employer does not pay you the provident fund contribution? Simple. Why don't you go to court? Assumption 1 says, courts cannot intervene in the matters of dispute between employers and employee. Now, if courts could not intervene, why this statement would be in existence? If this author is saying that why don't you go to court if employer is not paying you your PF contribution? So that means court can intervene. So this assumption, first of all, this assumption is not supporting our statement. Anyway, it is false, right? Second, it is obligatory for employer to pay provident fund contribution to the employees. It is obligatory. That is why if an employee is not paying this particular thing to the employer, that employer can move to the court, because it is obligatory, it is mandatory, right? So this one is implicit. So correct answer, only second is implicit, right? Next. Yes, very good. Now, statement says, of all the digital cameras manufactured in India, brand X has the largest sale, right? Assumption one says, the sale of all the digital cameras manufactured in India are known. Yes, this is an assumption. That is why they are saying of all the digital cameras manufactured in India, brand X has the largest sale because every brand's sale is known, right? So this one is implicit. Second one says manufacturing of no other digital camera in India is as large as that of brand X. Statement is talking about sales. This assumption is talking about manufacturing, changing the topic. So that is why this assumption is not implicit, because we have to be in consistence, like we have to be in sync with the statement. If the statement is talking about sales, our assumption should also talk about sales and not the manufacturing. It could be the thing that many other companies are manufacturing at a large scale, but they are not able to, make sales. Okay. So here, correct answer would be only one is implicit. Next. Yes, correct. Statement is, you should not grant him leave this week due to exigency of work. Supervisor advise the administrative officer. Okay. Assumption one says, supervisor has reviewed the work required to be done during the set period. Definitely, he has reviewed the work, means we can assume that he has reviewed the work. That's how he knows. Like he knows that this week there is exigency of work. Okay. So this one is implicit. Second says, a request for leave cannot be turned down. Now, if request for leave could not be turned down, then this particular person would not be advising administrative officer to to not grant the leave. Requests can be turned down. That is why he's saying so. So this particular assumption does not support our statement. Okay. So the correct answer is option A. Only one is implicit. Next. Now read this one very carefully and take it as a real life thing. Okay. Okay, let's see the statement. Statement is party president has directed. So this particular person was a party president. Okay, he is directing all the members. Correct, very nice. He is directing all the members that no member of the party will give press briefing or interviews to the government and private TV channels about the discussion in the scheduled meeting of the party. So any discussion that has been done in the meeting of the party, no member is going to go out and give briefing to the press. Okay. Now, this party president is giving this directive. Okay. Now, what this particular person is assuming: number one, party members will observe this directive from the president. Number two, the general public will not come to know about the happenings in the scheduled meetings of the party. So if anybody is giving some instruction, okay, if people are giving instructions, why are they giving instructions? They are assuming that their instructions are going to be followed. Otherwise, nobody would be saying anything, right? So this one is implicit. Second, general public will not come to know about the happenings in the scheduled meeting of the party. This is also implicit, because if general public were to know about the happenings of the party, then party president would need not to direct all the members that do not go out and give press briefing, because anyway people would know the happenings, right? Because there is no chance that people are going to know what is happening inside. Okay, that is why they are saying it is confidential. Don't go out and tell people. So both are implicit. Next one. Yes. Statement is, the state government has decided to appoint 4,000 primary school teachers during the next financial year. So state government, they want to appoint 4,000 primary school teachers. What is the state government assuming? Number one, there are enough schools in the state to accommodate 4,000 additional primary school teachers. Means there is vacancy, right? So they are assuming that we have enough schools, and those schools are going to accommodate 4,000 additional primary school teachers. This one. Next, eligible candidates may not be interested in applying, as the government may not finally appoint such a large number of primary teachers. Now, again, if this assumption is true, let's say, then our statement does not make any sense, because this is not supporting the statement. So this assumption is not implicit. So correct answer, option A. Okay. Next. Yes. Good. Very good. Now, India's recent moon mission, Chandrayaan, was budgeted at 600 crore rupees, which by Western standard is staggeringly cheap. So Western countries are commenting on this, that this particular moon mission is staggeringly cheap. Now, what is the assumption? Number one, no moon mission has been cheaper than Chandrayaan. Now, we are only talking about Chandrayaan here. There is no comparison, right? Second of all, they are saying this particular moon mission is staggeringly cheap. They are not saying it is the cheapest, right? So this assumption is not implicit, because simply statement is saying it is staggeringly cheap, not the cheapest of all. Okay. Second, many of the moon missions by Western countries were much costlier than Chandrayaan. Why we can assume this? Because by Western standard, this moon mission, Chandrayaan, is staggeringly cheap. So this assumption supports our statement. Okay. So only second is implicit. Next. Now till now we had like two assumptions and we were selecting from them. Now we have to select from three of them. Now in this scenario, think from the point of view of public authority or police authority. Okay. What are they doing? Okay. Now, what is police authority doing? Police authority cordoned off an entire locality, basically barricaded the entire locality, shut down the entire locality for the entire day, and stopped vehicular movement for the visit of a top functionary of the government. So basically, VIP movement is there, so they have barricaded the area. They like shut the area in view of threat perception and advised all in that area to restrict their movements. So basically, they have told everyone to not to move too much, okay, because there is a VIP movement there. Now, which of the following assumptions is or are implicit in the above statement? One says, police personnel may not be able to control vehicular movement in the locality and may seek help from armed forces. Now, see here, we are only given information about police personnel, that police personnel have cordoned off the entire locality and they have done this. If whether like see if they were not able to control vehicular movement and they wanted to seek help of the armed forces, then this particular thing, any effort that they are putting in here right now, this will fall apart because of this assumption. So this assumption is not supporting our statement. So this is not implicit. Let's see the second option. People living in the locality may not move out of their houses for the day to avoid inconvenience. Now, see, if this was the assumption that people may not move out of their houses to avoid inconvenience, then police authorities would not need to shut the entire area down and advise people not to move out. They are not assuming it. That's why I said, think from the point of view of the police personnel. Okay. If people were not to move out of their houses, then definitely they would not have to barricade the entire area. This assumption, if this assumption is true, then cordoning off the entire locality and advising all in area to restrict their movement is going to fall apart. In previous question, there was a directive not to reveal anything, this. So this was the assumption that the person who was saying this, he was assuming that the directives are going to be followed. Okay. Here, we are assuming from the point of view of the police authority, the person or the author or the speaker. So police authority is doing something. So they are assuming that people are going to move out. That is why. So understood, this is also not implicit. This particular thing, why we are doing it. We are not thinking after what they are doing. Police authority is like they are advising all in the area to restrict their movement. Why they are advising so? They are not advising because of the assumption that people may not move out of their houses, right? In that previous question, the option was people will follow the directive. Here, it is not the option. It is not that people living in the locality will follow the order of the police personnel. They are simply mentioning people living in the locality may not move out of their houses. See the difference? So that's why. So this is just thought process and wordplay. Okay. So if people will not to move out, police personnel will not to do all these efforts. C option says the government functionary may request the police personnel to lift the ban on the movement of residents for the locality outside their dwelling. If this was the case, our entire effort is wasted. And moreover, this is not supporting the statement. So in this one, none is implicit. Okay. Next one. Yes, correct. Very nice. Now, statement is the government has urged all citizens to use electronic media for carrying out their daily activities. Okay, whether possible, whenever possible, instead of using paper, as the manufacture of paper requires cutting down of a large number of trees, causing severe damage to the ecosystem. Right now, it is government's plea. Number one assumption says most people are capable of using electronic media to carry out various routines. Second says most people have access to electronic media for carrying out daily routine activities. Third says people at large may reject the government's appeal and continue using paper as before. So, see, third one is outrightly rejected simply because this does not support our statement. Moreover, if government was assuming that people will reject the appeal, they would not appeal, right? So they are assuming that people are going to follow this. Now, let's talk about option A and B. See the words. Most people, they are not saying all people are capable. They are saying most people are capable of using electronic media. Okay. Now, when there was this UPI transaction, all of a sudden there was thing of UPI transaction, right? Now then government started urging for people to use UPI transaction. And now, even like all the street vendors and everybody has UPI, right? So government promoted this because government knew that most of the people have smartphones, most of the people are aware of the technology, right? They have access to technology. That is why they did so. So similar cases here. They are urging all citizens to use electronic media. Why? Because they're assuming that most people are capable of using electronic media. Second, most people have access to electronic media, right? So A is implicit, B is implicit. So correct answer is only A and B are implicit. Next question. Now the statement that is given to us is, wars must be discouraged vehemently, even though the majority of the victims might have been a nuisance to peace-loving people. This is the statement author is saying, wars must be discouraged vehemently, even though majority of victims, means people who are dying in war, they have been nuisance to peace-loving people. Still, wars must be discouraged. Assumption one says, wars kill majority of wicked people. Now, this thing they have already mentioned, even though majority of victims might be the nuisance to peace-loving people, then also they're discouraging the wars vehemently, right? So, sorry, excuse me. So this is not implicit. Second, innocent people are also killed in wars. They are opposing wars vehemently. They are also assuming that innocent people are also killed in wars. Not saying only innocent people are killed in wars. Wicked people are killed in wars. See, victim might have been nuisance to peace-loving people. Still, they are discouraging wars. Why? Because they're assuming that innocent people are also killed in wars. So this one, innocent lives are lost. Next one, vehement opposition to wars may have some desirable impact. Now, when we were discussing assumptions in previous slides, we discussed problem solving. So when a solution is given, we know that problem is there. Wars are happening, we know that. Second, solution that is given will work, right? So what are they saying? Vehemently discourage wars. So why are they vehemently discouraging wars? Because they assume that vehement opposition of the war may have some desirable impact. In critical reasoning, most important thing is wordplay. May have some desirable impact. They are not saying will have some desirable impact, right? Innocent people are also killed in wars, right? Along with people who are nuisance to peace-loving people, along with wicked people, innocent people are also killed in wars, right? So this one is also implicit. So the correct answer here is second and third are implicit. That makes it option 1. Understood? If there is any difficulty in any question, or sometimes it happens, network issue or things like that, whenever you watch this class again, and if you think this question you have not understood, or there is some problem in my way of conveying things, just let me know. We'll discuss it out, and I will make sure that you understand the concept properly. That is one thing that I can guarantee. Okay, don't shy away from asking doubts, please. That is something that you have to maintain. So please bear with me. No desirable impact, just the moral thing to do. Let me get back to this question. Uh, Moral thing could be there, but see, because our option is given in such a way, vehement opposition may have some desirable impact. So anybody who is opposing war, they are thinking, even if, see, I don't know if you are aware of it or not. Gaza thing is happening now. Now you know that there is war in between countries. So there are people from our groups who are actually opposing it. Now they might also be thinking that this particular thing might have some impact. They are like literally vehemently opposing it. Every single day I'm seeing their status story. Every single day they are making us aware of the situation. Now that it is not very practical thing that we can do something about it, but still they are doing it. Why they are doing it? Because they are assuming that they might be able to do something, right? So desirable impact is simply, uh, see, moral thing is fine, but I think we do something morally without us like expecting any impact or any solution. But if we are doing something vehemently, in this case, if we are doing something very seriously, diligently, so we expect some impact. It's just about the option. If it was in the if it was the case, vehement opposition is morally right or things like that, then statement would have been in the moral direction. Okay. Now our statement is, the finance minister on Sunday said that all cryptocurrencies, which include bitcoins, are illegal and the government will take all measures to eliminate their use. Okay, so basically they are banning cryptocurrencies. Why they are doing so? Assumption one, there have been plenty of cases of people getting duped. Yes, very nice. There have been plenty of cases of people getting duped by cryptocurrencies, which is why government was forced to take such a step. Now see, government is simply taking step to eliminate it. Okay, people getting duped or no, first of all, this thing is not discussed, because what is the statement? People banning, a finance minister banning cryptocurrencies and taking all measure to eliminate their use, right? So, and moreover, even if people are getting duped, why government will ban such a thing? People are getting duped of a lot of things, but government is not banning it. So this is a very vague assumption, plus it is not supporting our statement. Second says, it is not the responsibility of finance minister to warn the common people about illegal money. Finance minister is banning something, okay, telling people that it is illegal. So it is responsibility of them. That is why they are doing it. So this is also not implicit. Last one says, government can take legal action against people who are caught using cryptocurrencies. Government is doing this. It will take all measures to eliminate their use. Why? Because government can take legal action. Government has the authority to do it. That's why it is doing it. So this one is implicit. So correct answer is only third is implicit, right? Next one. Now let's see this question. Very nice. Now, why have I written all this? So, understand this basic thing. When we are writing sum, okay, sum could range from 1 to 99, any number. Okay, sum could be anything. It could be 1, it could be 99. When the statement says none or few, that means they are going more towards the less number, right? When they say most or all, they are going towards the majority of number. Understood? Now, in this case, statement is pets are not allowed in the park premises. It is a notice that is put up at one of the park entrances by authority that is responsible for the maintenance of the park. Now we have to see which of the following assumption can be there as per the given information. Now we have to see for only one assumption. Earlier we were looking at multiple assumptions. Now we have to mark the correct one only. Option A says, at least some people who visit the park have pets. Option B says, this is the only park that does not allow pets. Now, whether this is the only park or not, we do not know. This information is not given. We are only aware of the notice that is given to us. So, we are going to rule out this one. Okay. C says, people who ignored this notice were fined. Again, we do not know what happened to the people who ignored the notice. Again, ruling this out. Next says, there is more than one entrance to the park. Now, this is not an assumption. It is clearly mentioned here. One of the park entrances. So, definitely there is more than one. So, not an assumption. Last one says, many people have now stopped visiting the park. Many people have now stopped visiting the park. How does this assumption support our statement? It does not. Which assumption supports the statement? That at least some people, even if one person who's coming to the park, that person has pet. Okay, that person is bringing pet to the park, and because of that, things are happening, people are getting uncomfortable, whatever is happening. Now, park authorities cannot directly go and call that person out. So they have simply put a notice out there. At least some people means even if one person has pet, 100 people are visiting, one person has pet, so they are putting up the notice. So this assumption is implicit. Okay. Next one. Very nice. Correct. Now, our statement is the government has appealed to all citizens. So government is appealing to all citizens to use potable water, that is drinking water, judiciously. Why? Because there is an acute shortage in supply. Excessive use may lead to huge scarcity in future months. Now, which of the assumption is implicit? Why government has made this a statement, or why government has appealed this to all the citizens? One says, people may ignore the appeal and continue using water as per their needs. So if this was the assumption that people may ignore the appeal, government would not be appealing, right? B says, government may be able to trap those who do not respond to the appeal. Now again, government is appealing because government thinks or government assumes that people are going to respond to the appeal. So trapping does not come in the question. Next says, government may be able to put in place alternate sources of water in the event of crisis situation. If this was the assumption, again, appealing to people to use water judiciously, and they have clearly mentioned it may lead to huge scarcity in future months. So this assumption is not correct. This assumption is not implicit. Next, A large number of people may positively respond to the government's appeal. A large number of people. Most, some, few. Okay. So most is going towards majority, a large number of people. So a large number of people may positively respond to government appeal and help tide over the crisis. This is one assumption. Next, only the poor are going to suffer from the shortage of water supply. Vague, out of scope. So clearly, assumption D makes more sense. It supports the statement that government is appealing because government assumes that a large number of people are going to respond to it, and they are going to respond to it positively. And because of this response, they are going to help, people are going to help tide over the crisis. Okay. Next. Now, this statement says, during the past 20 years, so we are discussing past 20 years here, computer scientists focused increasingly on starting and running successful businesses. Okay. However, since businesses must be profitable, now they want to run a successful, profitable business. However, businesses must be profitable. Computer scientists must focus on developing products that generate profit. Consequently, now what is happening? Consequently, computer science has lost its creative aspect. Okay. Right. Nice answer. Correct one. Now, profitability is increasing. Creative aspect has been lost. Okay. What is the assumption for the conclusion to be, for conclusion above to be drawn from the argument above? What is the assumption that is most necessary? What is the conclusion? This. Consequently, computer science has lost its creative aspect. Now, two things are happening. One, computer scientists are focusing more on profitable business, and then creativity is lost. So this is the thing. What is the assumption? Number one says all computer programs must lack creativity in order to be well received. Receiving is not the issue. Profit generation is the thing. Second, some computer scientists entirely disregard creativity and choose instead to pursue profit. Entirely disregarding creativity and choosing profit. See, basically, profit is increasing, creativity is decreasing, basically. And it is not like entirely they are disregarding anything. They are just simply less creative. Okay. So again, not supporting our statement. C says program cannot be both creative and profitable. D said computer scientists are obsessed with profitability of their work. Obsession, not supporting the statement. E says business is more important than computer science. This is just a generic statement that is being made without any information that supports this statement. C option rather, program cannot be both creative and profitable. During past 20 years, computer scientists focus increasingly on starting and running successful businesses. And since business must be profitable, they must focus on developing product to generate profit. Now, if they are increasing profitability, creativity is decreased. If they want to increase creativity, then definitely less profitable, right? So program cannot be both creative and profitable. This is the assumption if we keep, okay? If this assumption is most necessary, this one, if this one is the assumption, see, then the conclusion that either the program will be profitable or creative. This is fine. Okay, so correct answer is option C, very evident. Next one. This one you can take assumption or sorry example from day-to-day life. Okay, where you are going for shopping and what are your thoughts? Yes, correct answer. Unlike other retail outlets, where items are purchased in any number of units the customer want, in supermarkets, items are grouped in bulk packages. This bulk buying offers saving to the customer. The option to buy at wholesale prices by buying in bulk makes supermarket a practical choice for budget conscious consumers. Now, which of the following assumption may be derived from the above information? What is the information? That in retail outlet stores, we can go and buy product as per our convenience, like whatever unit we want, 2, 3, 6, 7, whatever. In supermarkets, products are kept in a bulk, and obviously this bulk buying is cheaper than going to the retail shop and buying an individual unit. And you might have seen these kind of examples a lot of time, where even 1 rupee per unit is decreased while buying an order, and it happens like 10 rupees is saved or 20 is saved, or maybe in some cases hundreds are saved. So this is the thing. What is the assumption? A says supermarkets often have greater buying power and lower overhead cost. So they can offer a greater variety of products than regular retail outlet. Like the statement, the question is about budget conscious customer going to the supermarket, buying things in bulk. Question is not about variety of products. So not implicit. B says supermarkets are often more conveniently located, better parking facility. Location and better parking facility is out of question. C says, emergence of supermarket has caused many small retail stores to close down and thus eliminate competition. We are not discussing about competition here. We are discussing that in supermarkets, even though they are getting orders in bulk, they are not able to choose what they want or how many units they want. Still, people are going there, and still it is a good choice for budget conscious customers, right? This is the question. Next says, it is economically wise to buy single item since bulk packages seldom offer significant savings. Again, what is economically wise? They have clearly mentioned this bulk buying offers saving to the customer. Option to buy at wholesale prices by buying in bulk make supermarket a practical choice for budget conscious. They are saying economically wise. So again, not supporting the statement. E says financial savings from purchasing bulk packages may outweigh the inconvenience of being able to purchase items in any number of units that suits the customer's need. Obviously, they are saving a huge amount of money by purchasing in bulk. So that convenience of buying things in unit, unless and until it is like very small unit, that convenience may be outweighed. They are not saying purchasing bulk packages will outweigh or it has outweighed. They're saying that it may outweigh. And in some cases, it happens also. If we are getting things in bulk, we simply buy it. We do not think of, purchasing in unit. So option E is the correct answer here. Next one. Yes, very nice. Now, in a recent construction of chemical plant on the shore of Lake Blue has introduced a new pollutant in water, that is toxidil. Toxidil first works its way into the ecosystem through underwater plant life. Okay. These plants absorb pollutant, which is then transmitted to the local fish population when the vegetation is ingested. Fish so tainted appear healthy, but their meat, when consumed by humans, lead to serious health problems. Now, the population living in the vicinity of Lake Blue will undoubtedly suffer a decline in health due to new chemical plant. What is happening here? New chemical plant releasing toxidil, okay, into the lake, into Lake Blue. Then this toxidil is being absorbed by plant life or vegetation. Vegetation is eaten by fish, and then fish is consumed by humans. This is happening. So because of this chemical plant, humans are getting affected, right? So this is happening. We have seen how we have this information is giving to us that chemical plant is releasing toxidil. Toxidil is absorbed by vegetation, plant life, and then when it is ingested in fish, fish is affected. Then when meat is consumed by human, definitely humans are affected. So what is the last line? The population living in the vicinity of Lake Blue will undoubtedly suffer a decline in health. This is the last line. Now we have to find which of the following assumption is necessary for author's conclusion. This is the conclusion. Okay. Option A says other pollutants are not detrimental to human health. We are only talking about toxidil. Fish in Lake Blue is consumed by people who reside nearby. This could be one thing. Next is first reported incidences of fish tainted with toxidil occurred in Lake Blue and not elsewhere within Canada or United States. Not supporting our statement. Okay. Next one says currently the only source of toxidil in the world is chemical plant. We do not know about other sources available in the world, not given to us in the question. So this particular assumption will not support our statement. Ruling this out. Correct answer simply B. Fish in Lake Blue is consumed by people who reside nearby. And now see wordplay. Because in the conclusion, they are saying the population living in the vicinity of Lake Blue will undoubtedly suffer a decline in health due to new chemical plant. Undoubtedly. And why undoubtedly? Because they are consuming fish. And how can we figure this out? They are consuming fish because, again, chemical plant releasing toxidil, then vegetation, fishes are consuming, fish is consuming vegetation, and human are consuming the meat that is tainted by toxidil. So that is why, because of the chemical plant, people are going to have health hazard. This is an extreme conclusion, right? Now, unless and until anything extreme is given to you in the question, you are not going to mark an extreme option. Option B is an extreme option, right? Because they are saying fish in Lake Blue is consumed by people who reside nearby. They are not saying some people may consume fish. Okay. or may be consumed by people. They are not using anything like that, because conclusion is extreme. Conclusion is simply saying undoubtedly suffer. So means this is very certain that people living in the vicinity are consuming fish. So that is why we are marking extreme option here. You have to understand this also. Just critical reasoning, wordplay. Okay. Next one. Very nice. Correct answer. Now, Burger House. Burger House is a national fast food chain. This particular fast food chain recently announced a special promotion, and in this promotion, they dramatically reduced the price of their most popular burger, that is Big and Bindas. This development has provoked a strong response from nation's nutritionists. Why? Because they are citing the extremely high level of cholesterol in the Big and Bindas. They predict that the price reduction will have a negative impact on health of our citizens. This is what they are predicting. That because they have reduced the price, this is going to have negative impact on health of our citizens. Now we have to see why this nutrition is, what this nutrition is assuming when they are making this argument. So the argument is that this sorry, price reduction will have a negative impact on health of our citizens. This is the argument. Now we have to think from the point of view of the nutritionist. Okay. Option A says some consumers induced by price reduction to purchase Big and Bindas would otherwise have consumed food lower in cholesterol than Big and Bindas. Reducing fat, second option says reducing fat consumption is most important factor in improving one's diet. Now, we are talking about nutritionists, but are we talking about reducing fat consumption or, somebody's diet? This whole situation is about their most popular burger being of less price, available at a very cheap price. Okay. So now take it in this way. Let's see, Big and Bindas earlier was of 500 rupees. So not everybody is going to have a burger that is of 500 rupees. But then they, created this sale, they announced a sale, and then they reduced the pricing to 100 rupees, or let's say 99. As sometimes happen in Belgian waffle, if you have heard of it, there is this National Waffle Day. So they say, they sell every waffle at 99 rupees. So now even if a person who's not going to have their waffles is going to, stand in the line and buy it. Now similar thing is happening here. People who were not buying Big and Bindas for 500 rupees, they are going to purchase it for 99. Dramatic decrease in prices there. So this thing. Here we are talking about cost, not fat reduction or anything like that. Option C says Burger House could not have increased sales of Big and Bindas by reducing its, increasing sale, okay, by reducing cholesterol content and appealing to health conscious customers. No, we are talking about price reduction, not increasing sale or things like that. This information is not mentioned whether they decreased price due to less sales. Okay. Option D says other fast food companies will not respond to Burger House's announcement by reducing the price. No information is given about other fast food companies, what they'll do, what they'll not do. Moreover, this assumption is not at all supporting the statement. E says Big Bindas is the only harmful burger of Burger House, not supporting the statement. So which assumption is supporting our statement? That some consumers induced by price reduction to purchase Big and Bindas, they would have otherwise consumed food lower in cholesterol than Big and Bindas. They might, obviously, they would not be spending 500 rupees on Big and Bindas. They might be purchasing something else. So they are induced by price reduction. That is why they are purchasing Big and Bindas. So correct answer is option A. Yes, your answer was absolutely correct. Very nice. So this was all for today. I hope you have understood assumption and how to solve questions based on assumptions. And I would suggest you to, keep a score and analyze where you are making mistakes so that you do not repeat it. And if there is something that, you're not able to understand or things like that, you can simply ask me. And also, please solve your practice sheets. Do not leave them for later on. It will be very beneficial for you if you start solving your practice sheets from now on, and just let me know if there is any difficulty. Okay, so I'll see you in the next class. Thank you for attending the class. All the very best.